Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Let's talk about the theater. I love the theater, and I especially love Palm Beach Dramaworks. They're a superb theater. I brought some friends to see the last show we just saw, The Little Foxes. And that's a Lillian Hellman play. Now, I didn't know much about this. Shame on me, but I didn't. So I had to read all about it. And the first thing you notice when you go in is the set. Oh, my God. That set was it was astounding. So what I want to do is I have a real expert here, Gary Cadwallader, who is Director of Education and Community Engagement at Palm Beach Dramaworks. Welcome to our show, Gary.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's are you always amazed at what they do with the sets?
I kind of am always amazed. And we're very, very proud of our sets. Michael Amico is, our production manager, but, the majority designs the majority of our sets at Palm Beach Dramaworks. And I have to tell you, he's outdone himself with this one. I mean, it really takes you back into a Victorian home in Alabama, doesn't it?
Oh, my goodness, I've never been in a Victorian home in Alabama, but every piece was so wonderful. I could have just crawled up on the stage, but then the acting, oh, my goodness. I mean, I read what the play was going to be, but never could I have believed that those actors could have done such a superb job.
Yes. Well, the thing about The Little Foxes is, Lillian Hellman was, she was commenting on greed in American society. And, when you have characters that are dealing with that topic, they can't just be, one level mustache twirling evil people. You've got to build in these multidimensional characters who are doing it for a purpose, whether it's, right or not, it's their own, individual purpose. And I think the actors, it's a top-notch cast, and I think the actors really capture all the complexities of these characters,
So believable. And you're right. I think we all have people like that in our family. But the woman, wow, was she tough and strong.
The actress playing Regina, right?
Yes.
Is that who you're talking about? Yes. Yeah, really strong and really tough. And, we learn Lillian Hellman wrote a prequel to this called Another Part of the Forest, and you get to see those characters 20 years earlier. And, you see that she wanted to be a woman who was right next to her brothers, and she was on equal par. But in that time period, which was 1880 and Little Foxes set in 1900, they weren't. She wasn't on par. She had no control over her destiny at all. She was her father's daughter, then she was her husband's wife, and so you see her wanting to be a strong, assertive individual. Now, whether she does it well or not, or with grace or kindness, but that's, you get to see that she was a strong woman before they were allowed to be strong, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. And I was just reading something about Lillian Hellman, that she was a liberated woman long before there was a women's liberation movement. And so you can see, it says she lived by her own rules, she drank too much, she chain smoked, and had a parade of lovers.
That's right. Well, and she, the character of Alexandra, which is the young girl in Little Foxes, she kind of wrote that as who she wanted to be. And someone said to me once, what happens to Alexandra after the play? And I think it's Lillian Hellman. It's really her. She did turn into be a liberated woman long before women's liberation, and she became a strong, woman who didn't take crap from anybody.
And of course now, with what's going on with all this sexual bad acting from everybody, all the women who should have been stronger and they weren't. They could take a lesson from her, right?
Well, yes, too, but a lot of it's coming from Hollywood, and there's a good reason for that. Actors, we are told to be open and vulnerable in our craft, in our art. And I'm afraid some people take advantage of that, because we are trying to be open and vulnerable and, giving of what we are as artists. And unfortunately, we do have bad people who take advantage of that. And that to me, and that's really indicative of why that's coming out in, I think, in the entertainment business, because of the nature of our art.
I see. Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's probably what happened. But anyway, I just loved it. And it was first class. And for anybody who really wants to see the finest show, I mean, this is anything Broadway could produce. There's no less. And I mean, you just go there and you see it. And so it will be on until Sunday, as Gary said. It's the Palm Beach Dramaworks. It's right there in Clematis, just by the fountain. Just go there and really see life as it is being performed on that stage. It's incredible. So I'm glad we could talk about that. So Gary, you're into a lot of other things. You're really into a lot of education, and I think it's important that you start educating the kids and people so that they can start to enjoy those kinds of plays.
Mm-hmm. Oh, indeed. My job as an education and community engagement person at a professional theater company is really to engage young people, not just to see art, but to use drama as a tool, whether it's in the classroom, integrating, drama and the arts into learning, into math and science and technology and engineering, but also, to use it as a tool for social change, to take stories to young people and show them who they are as young people through drama. And that's my passion, is using drama and, more specifically Palm Beach Dramaworks is to bring stories to young people that really resonate to them, just like the Little Foxes, where it's stories that resonate with older people. And I will say with our student matinees, with younger people as well, they have loved the story. And just to connect the two of those things together, a young high school girl at Talkback at last week's student matinee at the Little Foxes, when I asked him to throw out a word or two about the story, she said modern. And so she was connecting into our society right now through the Little Foxes, and that is what we do, and that is what I love to see within the theater, is to see young people really resonating with stories. So, drama is an ancient, art. It's been around since the beginning of man, where we've been telling our stories, and so to be able to work with young people and to bring them shows is just, it just makes my heart sing.
Yeah, well, I know you're very enthusiastic. It's great. So talk about now this Literacy Coalition, and you have A Man Called Love. What's that?
Well, it's actually A Man Called Uwe, and it's...
Uwe. Sorry. Isn't that funny? I just saw love.
Like love.
Oh, my God. Okay, sorry. Uwe.
Uwe, yes. And we met with the Literacy Foundation several months ago and learned that they were... this was going to be the Palm Beach... it's called Read Together Palm Beach 2017. And so this is a book that everybody then in Palm Beach is invited to read. Yeah. And then there's events that go on around, throughout October and into November, that center on this book. And this is a 2015 book by Fredrik Backman. He's Swedish, and it was originally written in Swedish. And it is an extraordinary book. It's full of so much joy and pain and humor. It is so funny. I mean, I was literally laughing out loud as I was reading it. So it's this beautiful story. And so we, in our meeting with the Literacy Coalition of Palm Beach County, we said, let's do a staged reading of the book. So we had a lovely woman, Audrey Addis, who adapted some scenes from the book for the stage. And we, on November 14th at 7 o'clock at Palm Beach Dramaworks down on Clematis Street, we are going to do a staged reading of the story. So I'm going to be directing it, and we've got professional actors who are going to be reading the roles from the book. And then we've got Ashley Hinson from Channel 5 is going to be narrating it for us and sort of hosting it with us. And so it's this beautiful, beautiful story about a man. His name is Uwe, and that's how I pronounce it in Swedish, I guess. And it's really about living in the aftermath of death. And, he's a widower with staunch principles and strict routines and a really short fuse. And, he gets surrounded by people in his community, a woman from Persia, a young boy from Morocco. And it's how this community, this loner of a man, is affected by those in his community, and really, from people from around the world, immigrants. and how they sort of connect and communicate with each other and sort of build a family in this community. It is such a beautiful story, and it is so funny too. So we're really excited to do this. And so the event itself is going to be a staged reading from the novel, and then we're going to do a talkback, and we're going to have a conversation with the audience about the story and about the characters and about what they saw and making connections and that sort of thing. So it's gonna be wonderful.
So we really should read the book before we attend this. That's the idea, isn't it?
Yeah, probably, because we are going to give away the end staged reading, so it would be helpful to do it. And it's not a very long book at all. I downloaded it on my Kindle, so it's very accessible. And I think, I'm not sure, Literacy Coalition said they were going to have the book in multiple places for people to pick up, and of course it's at the library and, you know, in bookstores as well. Do we still have bookstores? I hope.
Oh, yes. And it's
There's
only
a Barnes & Noble in Wellington, I know that.
Right. And it's only $5 as a donation to sit and hear it, right?
Right. So it's a $5 donation that goes to supporting literacy with the Literacy Coalition. And all that information is on their website. To get a ticket, you would have to go to, I think it's Literacy PBC, literacypbc.org. And on there, you look for a man called Uwe, which is spelled O-V-E, and you go to that page, and it gives you the details on how to get a ticket to see the show.
And that's coming up on Tuesday, November the 14th.
Right, at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, over there at the Palm Beach Dramaworks. You know, if you haven't been to that theater, it's beautiful. And the parking's easy. Just go in the back, and you'll see public parking. And then there's so many restaurants, you can have something to eat, but this would be fun. So are you expecting young people to be in the audience?
Well, I hope so. I have not been here since I've done a literacy, a read together Palm Beach. I think they do that every other year. So I wasn't here the last time. I'm hoping it's everybody. I mean, the book does cross boundaries. You know, the character of Uwe is 59, but there are characters of all ages in the book. And I certainly hope that people do come, whether it's not only to connect with the story itself, but also with theater and with actors, to see a story told on stage. So I'm hoping that, that it's, that it's so appropriate for all ages. Except for young people. There is a little bit of language in the book and on stage too, a little bit. So, it's probably not language appropriate for under 7th grade.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a nice thing to do. It's different. And the Palm Beach Dramaworks is such an active theater. They do so much for the community, and I know that whatever you perform, and I know the next one coming up is Billy and Me, and which of course is a world premiere. Does that mean that it's never been seen anywhere else?
It's never been seen anywhere else. Bill Hayes, your producer and artistic director, has been developing this with Terry Teachout, the playwright, who is actually the drama critic for the Wall Street Journal. And they've been developing this with one another for the last year and a half. And so they've been doing readings of the play at Palm Beach Dramaworks and workshops, private, within the theater itself for the last year and a half. And yesterday they started rehearsals for the first time. So it's gone through many incarnations and it's gone through many different paths, but it is going to be a world premiere, never before seen.
Wow.
It's about the playwrights Tennessee Williams and William Inge and their friendship and some might say relationship between the two of them, while Tennessee Williams, star had already risen and was beginning to fade a bit, whereas William Inge, his career with his plays Picnic and Dark at the Top of the Stairs and Bus Stop and Come Back a Little Sheba was really taking off. And so it's sort of the intersection of their career when they first met. It's really, it's not only about personal relationship, but it's also about these two artists at different places in their career and how that affects each other and how that informs one another's work and their relationship. It's fascinating. Fascinating.
Will there be a lot of actors in it?
No, as a matter of fact, there's only 3. So there's the actors playing Tennessee Williams and William Inge, and then there's a third actor who plays multiple roles, as needed throughout the play. Right. But it really focuses on Tennessee Williams and William Inge.
Oh, I love that. I love, of course, Tennessee Williams, and so that should be very interesting about how that is Billy and Me. Wow. And so it was it written by Terry Teachout?
It was, yes. Terry Teachout wrote it.
Huh.
We produced his play last year at the Dramaworks.
I know you did.
Yeah, Satchmo at the Waldorf.
Yeah.
So that's when he and Bill established a relationship, because Bill brought Terry down to direct Satchmo at the Waldorf, and then they began their collaboration on this piece. So, we had a meeting with everybody yesterday, the designers and the actors and Terry, first rehearsal meeting yesterday at the theater, and he said, I feel like I'm with family here at Palm Beach Dramaworks, which is wonderful, because he has been down so many times, and he's a respected artist. He's also a theater critic, but he's in New York, but he's a respected artist, and so he's really finding an artistic home here at Palm Beach Dramaworks, and that's so nice.
Right, and just think that it's the birth of a playwright.
And the birth of, yes, well, yeah, I think he'd written one or two plays before, but I think the birth of a play of a sort of a we'll say a young playwright already,
How old? I don't remember how old he is.
I don't either.
I mean, is he in his 40s?
I honestly have no idea.
Oh, yeah, I know people are like that. You can't tell anymore how old somebody is.
Yeah, right.
But that's great. Well, it must be great for you to be able to be housed, though, in a place like this. Do they have great back production as well as the front? Always looks good, but you have a lot of things in the back that help you to perform these shows?
Well, yeah, and they're not physically in the theater itself. We've got an amazing scene shop, which is in downtown West Palm Beach, and we have an amazing costume shop, which is over close to the Palm Beach airport, as a matter of fact.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. It used to be the costume shop used to be housed upstairs in the theater, but it just needed to grow and get bigger and bigger. So that's moved. So we've got a wonderful team of guys in the scene shop who do build the scenery, and they build the scenery and then they move it all over. So they build it at the scene shop and then they take it apart and then transport it to the theater, then put it back up again.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, so all of that scenery you saw in the little boxes in every play, that was built in a shop and then disassembled and then reassembled again.
Oh my! No one can even imagine that. And then, that's why ticket prices are so minimal when you think of what people have to go through. But that's why they really want you to subscribe. They really ask you to donate. That's what's really important. And if you want theater like this to continue, that's what they ask you. And they're giving you the best theater. I mean, you can't find better theater than this in South Florida. So I'm always very high on what's happened there. But let's talk a little bit more about you. What do you have in store after this?
Well, thank you for asking. After the stage reading on Tuesday of A Man Called Uwe, I've launched this season my very first Young Playwrights contest for high school students. Oh, wow. And so it's open to all Palm Beach County students from 9th grade to 12th grade. And the deadline's on December 15th. And I've sent out word that we're looking for 10-minute plays. And I've written lesson plans and sent that out, that teachers can use my lesson plans and my supporting materials if they like, or if they already have their own plans, of what doesn't really matter, but, to submit plays. And what we're going to do is I've got professional playwrights and directors who are going to read the plays that are submitted. We're going to narrow them down to 20, and then we're going to give them dramaturgical feedback for some revisions, and we're going to give them 1 week to revise, and then we're going to choose the top 10, and then we're going to do it. We're going to hire professional actors and directors, and we're going to put them up on stage at Palm Beach Dramaworks in February, and invite these young playwrights, these high school playwrights, to be a part of the creative process, to be in the rehearsal room, and be a part of that development process that Terry is going through now in rehearsals, and that playwrights go through when you have a new play. So, and then we're going to give each of them a $250 cash prize, and then we're going to publish the plays too. So we're kicking that off, and so we're so excited because, we need to help develop not only the next generation of actors, but also playwrights and designers and stage managers and technicians. We want to make sure that everybody educate. Theater is not just about actors. It's all different areas that help to contribute to make the art that we do. And so, I think this project is to help encourage people to write. And so we've gotten a lot of support from the English language arts departments at the school district as well as the drama department. So that's really nice to know.
And so nobody else I don't think is doing something to the extent that you're doing with this. I mean, to have children, kids write a play, write what they want and choose one and then perform it. I mean, you just never know who you're going to get. This could be the beginning of a whole new
Tennessee Williams.
Right. Oh, is that right?
We could be help launching a new Tennessee Williams.
Right.
You never know.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that went, but how old he was when he first started. Do you know that history?
He was in his 20s. Yeah, he had written a couple of plays like Battle of Angels when he was in his 20s. He was writing plays for his college. I don't know what it was called. It was like their sort of amateur dramatics club or something in St. Louis, and so he was writing plays there, and then I think that Glass Menagerie, I think he was in his late 20s when that hit. So he wasn't, he was fairly young when he was writing. So, if we can encourage young people to do that, but really, it's not just even about developing playwrights. It's also about giving these young people a voice. What do you want to say to this world? What do you want to say to an audience? What do you want to say to young people? What do you want to say to adults about what you're thinking and feeling about this world? And so I think this gives them a platform to creatively say something, and not just share their opinions with friends and family, but also to actually say something. And I think that's really important to give young people to help develop that side of their brain.
Yes, you're so right. That's so important because they do have a lot to see now. Of course, nowadays they're doing it on the internet. They're doing it on blogs, They're doing other places, so they say they have a place. But to have an audience, a real audience, watch, and I mean, that is just spectacular.
They're not. I was going to say they're not just bent down over their smartphones, right, and texting. They actually have to write a story that has a beginning, middle, and an end. Exactly.
And is it possible that one of them will come up with something where there'll be music involved?
Well, yes, I think there is. I don't want to give it away, but there was a student that I was in touch with, a media specialist out at Glade Central High School, out in Belle Glade.
Oh, my.
And it was a student that is interested in writing, so I brought him to see Sweeney Todd that we did this summer. And he's a refugee from Haiti, and he was blown away by it. He said, "I want to write a 10-minute musical." I said, "Well, you're more than welcome to do that, but you'll need to create music to go along with it. Everything has to be original. It can't be other music or other songs." And so the media specialist out there said he is writing the music to go with his story. Isn't that wonderful? So
it's fabulous.
He's been really passionate about it ever since summer. She said he started writing it right away. So
now, see, that would really be spectacular, wouldn't it? And you're so encouraging. This is what you love, isn't it? You really love the education. I know that I think in the last interview that we had, that I think I asked you how you got involved in all this, and maybe for the people who weren't listening, or just to refresh everyone's memory, why don't you share how you became so interested in theater?
Well, actually, it's not something I found. It's something my mother found for me. My mother was very interested in us, and I looking back, the school that I went to in elementary school, the public elementary school, it was very arts integrated, and that was a new concept I think back then. And so I had drama and I had music and I had dance, in elementary school. Like we had it every day, and but my mother wanted my brother and I to have arts experiences, so she put me in at a theater company to take acting classes, and she put my brother into art school, for him to study art. She was just really passionate about taking us to arts events and having us make sure that we experience that in our lives. So, of course, then she planted the seed and it stuck. And so from there I went to college and I studied acting in college. And then I went to graduate school and got a master's degree in acting. And I've been acting around the country. I'm still an actor. I've done 2 plays already at Dramaworks since I've been there. And I am a director, so I've incorporated all aspects of the field into my career, into what I'm doing, and I think that's really why it drives me to be an educator, a theater educator as well, because I think it really does help stimulate all areas of our brain. You know, it stimulates the left side and the right side. You know, we have to be analytical and we have to be creative. So I'm passionate about that, and I'm passionate about it for all ages. I want to do plays for young people, which, as a side note, we just did a touring production to middle schools in Palm Beach County that just closed on Friday.
What was that?
It was called Swagger, and it was a project where I'm really, you know, there's a lot of divisiveness going on in the country now, and I wanted to do a play that really had young people think about walking in other people's shoes and about empathy and understanding of other people. And so we based it on the idea of the conflict between police officers and communities, you know, which is happening all over the country and in our area too. And so I commissioned a play, and we toured it to 18 middle schools in Palm Beach County, and it comes with a study guide so the teachers can work on activities and discussion prompts in the classroom about empathy and walking in other people's shoes. Then they come see the play, and it was a very powerful play about a police officer, a young boy, and a shop owner, and they meet in conflict, but they each have their own perspectives on really what happened. Everyone has their own perspective, and so we didn't answer the question for the children. We actually raised questions for the children and then had a talk back with them afterwards. So it was really, really wonderful, and I'm going to be expanding that program out to also include, that was for the 6th grade, so I'm going to do plays for the 7th grade and the 8th grade in the future as well.
Absolutely. That's just wonderful. Are you, it said that you were going to be calling in on your way driving. Are you? Have you been driving doing this?
Oh, no, I'm in a rest area.
Oh, good,
I'm in
because
a rest area.
I was going to say, you're spectacular. How could you drive and talk so intelligently? But you're in a rest area.
No.
Okay.
No, I would be, I would be having monosyllabic sentences if I was driving.
Is your mom still alive?
She is not, actually.
Oh,
she's been dead for a while, but she was very supportive of my career.
But she knew that you were going to go in that direction, thanks to her. Well, Gary, it's just wonderful talking to you. I have to say thank you for taking the time, and we're going to push the Palm Beach Drama Works as much as we can, everything about it. And I'll be there at the next show, and I don't know if I'll get to yours, but thanks a lot, very much.
Thank you, Anita.
All right, bye, Gary.
Bye-bye.